balance card, scorecard is also a communication plan. Of course, I told us in the first lecture that if we must succeed with our plans, we must have a communication strategy. Because that's what also told us when we were talking about creating awareness. If you are going to implement a store performance audit system in your operation, you must have communication strategy. That is how you communicate that one to the individual. And of course, when you are talking about a communication, we are saying explaining things for them to understand and getting the feedback. Are we following? Then you also have to plan. You set targets and align strategic initiatives. That's why we talk about across board. Are we together, class? The most important, enhance strategic feedback and learning. We did mention in the class that anything, the moment we stop learning, we're already dead. We're already dead.
Is it too much?
So we have to learn. And that's why when we are talking about this scorecard balance, the other perspective is learning and growth. We have to ensure that you have a learning organization that is ever innovative, creating new things. Okay, so that there will be no stagnation. I did mention the other time that there is nothing like stagnation in management, so that there will be no regression. So these are the uses of a balance scorecard. Able to clarify and translate vision and strategy. Most of the things that are affecting us is that we can copy visions, we can copy strategies. I say, this is my vision, this is my strategies. Okay. Having strategy and vision are not able to translate them into action is just we are just losing resources. And that's why we say, if you don't have the vision, don't just have a plan. You should forget about plan. And have plan. Yes. Yes.
The study.
Yes.
And the work plan.
Yes.
It's different from your day-to-day administrative.
Precisely. Yes.
They are different.
Yeah, they are different.
The day-to-day is the functioning of the
yes.
office.
Yes.
That's different from your strategic activity that you should be doing.
Yes. That is very true.
It comes to a point you need to work at the time.
Yes.
Because you're more of the day-to-day running of the institution.
That's right.
Implementing the strategy.
Yes. So, that's a good one. You see, look, the balance scorecard now, a strategic framework, vision of having everything live by the year 20,000, by the year 200, having a vision. Our people plan. That year came, nothing was achieved. Because having a vision is different. A vision should not just be copied. Should not just be based on sentiments of what people feel. You must also have the capacity to implement that vision, including change of behavior. Are we together, class?
Our former president had this, we call it Vision 2020.
Yes.
But before 2020, he was defeated.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
He said in 2020, Gambia will look like Singapore.
Singapore,
That was his vision. We call it Vision 2020.
Yes. Which was not a good vision. Looking like a Singapore, like I mentioned, there is no basis for comparison. Yes. When you are making comparison, yes, you can appreciate what others are doing. Yes. It's not just the symbols you look at, all those symbols, buildings, and the process, the principles. What are the guiding principles?
That is what was lacking.
Yes. Lacking and is fundamental. It's fundamental. Yes. So it's not just what I say, it's what I believe in. Yes. what I believe in. That's why sometimes when you talk about there has to be value orientation. But we have some of these agencies, they are not working. Nigeria will have Ministry for Reorientation. But they will be asking for money here and there, and nothing is happening.
What are they doing?
Values, trying to educate us. We saw something yesterday. He didn't like it. Just a man standing on the main road and just yes.
Just drop from the car.
Yes.
That's in the middle of the road.
I will just put off. I said that is the whole.
And the other guy was finished drinking. Is it water or can?
Just through
We have that one. That one is everywhere. Even in Africa. Yeah. People will be driving, doing things.
Yeah, but we are talking about sustainable development. We are talking about the green environment and things like that. They are there. And we have subscribed to those visions, sustainable development goals. And we are not doing anything about that.
We have this anti-littering act. People have been arrested and they are also paid.
Yes, that is the starting point. Until they learn how to behave.
It used to be very rampant in our country.
Yes.
But now certain areas, you don't dare throw things there.
And people are able to be conscious.
Yeah, that's what we are saying.
You want to throw something, they say, hey, no, don't throw it.
Yes.
Keep it until when you throw it.
That's what your orientation is all about. At the beginning, you may be hard on the culprits, but after some time, they also learn how to behave.
And certain things you have to see if deep implement on somebody before you can break.
Yes.
That's the typical African name. I have to see it first before I can practice it. You ask people, they have abandoned people or suspended people from using this.
Yeah.
But they will still use it. They will still do that particular thing.
Yeah.
But the moment they see someone, a culprit,
Yeah.
they'll change.
Being punished.
Yes. They'll change. Even in our country, when you are driving,
Yeah.
you need to put a seat belt.
Seatbelt.
If they show you without the seat belt,
Yes.
they will ask you to pay.
Exactly.
Or even talking on the phone while
Yes.
driving. It's an offense.
They are there in our law books.
Exactly.
But they are hardly people just do them and go scot-free.
Yeah.
Or you just give money
Sort of,
to
yes.
the road safety corps.
Yes. That's the problem.
Okay, so we have the balance scorecard. You see the first box there on the top.
Yeah, that's right.
Clarifying and translating vision and strategy is very important. Awareness precedes change. Awareness precedes change. If you want to change anything, you must create awareness. For instance, you have to define the change balance, because when you say change, you need to define the change. Not just defining the change, we also need to define the sacrifice people need to make in order to enjoy that change. Without that, you will not succeed. So you start from there. That is, you clarify, and then clarify the vision, and gaining what? Consensus. Yes. Is the awareness. And that is what I told us that when we start this right, I want to don't just go with installing the system. Have conversation with the staff. Okay? You start with the good things they have been doing. Yes. Okay? And that we will not continue that way, because we also want to move further. And there are things we need to do to move the organization forward. And all of us have...
You don't condemn, you recommend.
Yes. All of us have rules to play. And the first role you need to do is to do your work. And for you to do your work, you need to understand the work you are doing. And for you to do your work well, you need to know that you can't do the work alone. That you have to relate with other staff. Yes. You are creating awareness. You are using the balance scorecard. Yes. That is not just about your department alone, it's also about other departments. Are we together at last? Okay. So, when you gain commitment, the problem is solved. Commitment means whether you are there or not, the work will go they have understanding of what the organization wants. They also know that if the organization is making progress, they will be affected. So the commitment is there. That is the starting point. Another thing is that you have to communicate. Communicating and educating. People will ask you certain things, and that's why communication is very. You must get the feedback. It should not be just one-way communication. One-way communication where you dish out instruction. Yes, you may have good plans. So this is how it should be. Even when you have that, those good plans, you need to consult. You also need to get the feedback from people. Are we together? Yes. And when you get feedback, that's where education comes in. Because some of us have limited view. For instance, sometimes people who do not understand how the financial system works or how the economy works will suggest that since we have 20 billion, 32 billion in our reserve, why not just share the money among the so that everybody will go?
No.
To them it makes sense. They say, why are we punishing ourselves? So if you say we have 20 billion in our account, just share this among the population, everybody will go. But you have to explain to them that the economy cannot function that way. Yes. Because if I have the same amount of money with you and all that, I will sit at home, I will not work. And once the production is not going on, nothing is going on, and you are reporting in no time, that seemingly big amount of money will just disappear. I will be back to square one. Not even square one, worse than the square one.
And we have staff who think along that line.
Yes.
You know, before we used to be supplemented by government.
Yes.
Well, by then, most of our revenue lines were handled by our force authority.
Yes.
So, in his tenure,
yes,
some of these revenue lines, we are able to tap them now.
Yes.
So now, the staff are saying, now that money is coming, why can't we just be increasing salaries?
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, we told them it's step by step.
Yes, yes.
But there are other areas where we need to invest in.
Yes.
Like, for example, we're supposed to build our head office.
Yes.
And that requires a lot of money.
Yes.
And so many other things.
Yes.
Operational costs are there.
Yes.
All those things. But they are not thinking that way.
Yeah.
The moment they know money is there.
Yes. So let's just finish it.
Yes, let's just exhaust it.
Yeah.
Pay ourselves before this government goes.
Okay. So we are getting it. This you communicate and educate. Then you now set goals. That is not just to say I'm working. You must have goals. You have to set targets. Okay. You have to set targets. This is what I'll be doing. This is what I will do for a given period of time. Okay. And then you have some from time to time. You also yes.
Like in my department.
Yes.
We have what you call annual audit plan.
Okay.
Can that be termed as a target?
Audit plan.
Yes. We come up with a plan that the whole year, from January to December, these are activities we want to achieve.
Yeah, you have to talk about activities. When you are talking about this target, the focus is on outcome, the output. All those activities, if they are carried out, what would be the output? What would be the output? So based on that, you set the target. This is the targeted output from all these activities. Then you link reward to performance measures. Of course, that is the problem. That's where the talent is. When you have in the public service, where you have a uniform structure, okay, and when you have really promotion is not a performance driven. Most times, what you have in the course civil service, just the number of years you have stayed on a particular position. Whereas your mates are moving, you are also moving. Yes, there is something we call appraisal, but it's a mere ritual. It's just to validate what you have already, what you have planned to do. Okay, and that's why even when you use the instrument, yeah, highly subjective, not only subjective, also inflicted. Inflicted. Yeah. When you see some of our prisoners, you can't see somebody getting less than 70. Okay. Not just because they must get 70, because the supervisor don't really want to cause trouble for themselves.
That is where I wanted to come.
Yes. Yes.
Because you were saying they should be rewarded.
Yes.
Now, what about in an instance where you have 90-90? Everybody's scoring 90.
Yes.
How are you going to reward?
Yeah, that is exactly what we are talking about. That's what we are talking about. That one, you know that they have not done the right thing. Yes. It does not make you know, in statistics, we always have few in both states. That is exceptional performance. We have this in are good. And a lot of people will be in the middle, and that's why we call it a normal curve. In every situation, there has to be a normal curve.
Meet expectation.
Yes, many people will be in the middle, or 60, 50, 60. Well, a few people will score 70, 80. And so when you see a curve that is abnormal, you know that the assessment has not been done well.
So how are you going to reward?
How are you going to...
that is the problem.
How
you want to implement this rewarding system,
yes,
or you have it in place. It's going to be very difficult for someone.
Yes, there are various ways we can do that. Of course, like we learned yesterday, part of it is having a staff of the month, staff of the days. That will help to reduce the subjectivity. Are we following? Yes. It may help to reduce it because only one person will be chosen as a staff of the month or staff of the week. I'm not saying that it will completely reduce that subjectivity. Okay, that will be different if everybody has to be assessed at the end of the year. You will see almost all of them getting 90, sometimes 105 over 100.
Yeah, because yesterday we were discussing.
Yes.
Fear was people use their personal discretion.
Yes.
To grade people.
Yes.
When they are doing performance.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but like if the process is well defined and then it is followed strictly.
Yes.
Some of those things will be addressed. Like
yes,
for instance, you allow your subordinate to assess himself.
Yes, the 360-degree approach. Yes.
Now you sit to discuss and agree on those points.
Yes.
Then from there you submit to performance or HR department.
Yes.
This thing now will be forwarded to management.
Yes.
The management also will sit down and look at this thing, where you will be part of that. That group. To defend the points that you have agreed upon with your subordinate.
Yes.
Because this particular person, maybe people know the person, the type of person, whether he's a hard-working guy or not a hard-working.
Yes.
If it happens to be a hard-working person, the grade you give him or her doesn't match with the amount of work that he's doing. Management is there to confront you. Yes. You have undergraded this particular person.
Yes.
So the same thing will happen if you overgrade that particular person.
Yes.
People will know this person is not up to standard, and
yes,
you are giving him this amount of points.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's how it should work.
Thank you very much.
What she's saying is, I quite agree with her. People use their personal district. I like this particular stuff, or I hate this particular.
Yes.
Then they try to downgrade you or upgrade you.
Yes. If you have if there is a fair process, like the one you try to describe, yes, all those things will be taken care of. It's fair process. We'll start with clear definition of rules. We'll set out criteria.
I think that would be the starting point.
Yes.
Until people understand,
yes,
clarify rules,
yes,
and make sure people understand. It's going to take a while.
Yes.
When people understand the process,
yes,
and what it entails,
yes,
then you can move on to the next, that is the appraisal.
Appraisal, yes.
But if you just start with appraisal, when people don't know their roles,
yes,
it's going to be difficult.
Yes. Of course, that conforms to what we have been preaching, that you have to create awareness. And then you also have to call supervisors. It's not just enough and train them as to how to use those criteria. And that's why they must be objective. When we talk about objectivity, we are saying that whether you are there or not, if those criteria are used by another person, you will get same result. So it starts with a clear definition and having a system and be fair to all.
Let me give this example.
Okay.
Like in my department, we have divided our work.
Yes.
So the way I put it, all the procedures that you're supposed to follow. Let's say, for example, revenue.
Yes.
You are looking for the completeness of revenue.
Yes.
There shouldn't be any revenue leakage.
Yes.
So you think outside the box.
Yes.
Okay. Now it will be very easy for me now to appraise that particular person based on that activity. Because
yes.
that's what you are just there to ensure our revenue is complete.
Yes.
There's a billing department. They are raising invoices and stuff like that.
Yes.
So now, let's say in half year they were able to raise 200 invoices.
Mm.
You are able to review only 7.
Yes.
You know you have not done well.
Yes, right.
You have not completed.
Yes.
So it will be now, I will just do that statistics to grade you. It is very simple.
Yes.
The same thing happens to cash management. If I ask you to manage cash, you look for the deposits, the bank reconciliation or stuff like that.
Yes.
How many issues have you identified?
Yes.
Were they resolved? Because if you there are no long outstanding reconciling items should remain unfollowed.
Yes.
It is clearly stated.
Yes.
So now you are reviewing bank reconciliation, let's say for February.
Yes.
There is this unpresented tax, for example.
Yes.
But this thing was here since November, the
Yes.
preceding year.
Yes.
You know, it should take 6 months for it to be cleared. But then, as at end of March or April, around April, it is 6 months.
Yes.
Then in May, it's still appearing.
Yes.
And you, as the particular, you are not following why it's still there. So if I'm grading you, you have not done well.
Yes.
So it's easy that all those things are clear, they are clear, and then it makes your work very simple.
Yes.
This is what the items that you are going to look for. This is
Yes.
how you do this.
Yes.
Collect this, compare this, agree this, follow this,
Yes.
and so this is done.
Yes.
So the goals or the procedures are very clear to you. So if you don't perform up to expectation, it's very easy for a supervisor to grade you.
Yes.
But then how many department or how many head of unit is doing things like that?
Yes.
So that is where she is also talking about.
Oh, well, that's why we are talking about a performance management system.
Yes.
As you say, it's a system. It's something that should be used by all. Something that should be used by all. Okay. Like they told us some of the things they do. This widely goals, setting widely goals and all that. Okay. You have to set goals for each department. You set goals. Okay. With the DG. Sometimes we set goals wrongly. What do I mean? Sometimes I say, what have you achieved last year? That is not goal setting. Or what can you do? The head of department ideally should sit with the DG to say, this department, this is what I will achieve with the given resources. Yes. The head of the department goes back to this department to set targets based on the goals. Is to management objective. We are not saying that everybody has to be with the DG. No. The DG will meet with the head of the department based on his expectation for the year, what he wants to achieve. He will set goals for the different departments based on the resources and the mandates of those departments. So you don't set uniform goals for all, because they are doing different but related things. That's where it starts from. And that's why we say fair process, fair process. It's not just to say go and work, go and work, go and work. Managers like you who know what to do may set goals for that. And they are doing that. Others who do not know will not say, don't mind them, why do you set, why will you want to just go and work? And we are saying, when you tell people to just go and work, you will not be getting the desired result. I will follow you. So it has to start from the top. Huh? Yeah, clarity, yes. Of course, that's why we also talk about performance contracts for the DGs, the CEOs. Government will tell the DGs and others, I say, look, It's not what do you want to get this thing. Based on this, what can you achieve with all these resources? They agree. When we say it should be reward driven, there is positive reward, there is negative reward. You also say that if you are not getting the desired result, the agreed upon result, you should be sacked. That's what accountability is all about. Yes. Okay. Linking rewards to performance measures. Of course, when we talk about rewards, it's not just about money, about money. The handshake with the DG is also a form of reward. Yeah. Recognition, that's what this reward is all about. That you are recognized for an outstanding performance. Yes. Letter of appreciation, appreciating is something that has been done well, which is something that you can present during an interview, promotion interview. Are we following? Yes. But it's only in the monetized system, like everything will just say how much. Some of my staff will tell me, listen, when they do, I start, I say thank you. They will jokingly tell me, okay, is it thank you I will eat? They will jokingly say thank you. I will also tell them that what they are looking for, I don't have. A manager rewards with the resources available to him. Okay. The thank you I have, I can use that to have. Okay. The money you think this I don't have, I cannot even take care of myself. Even if I want to give you money, how much can I give to you that will be satisfied? You know, we told us that money is not a motivator.
Yes.
I will follow it. Yes. What I have is what I will give. I said, what if you do a work for me and I don't thank you? Some managers do that. Because when you thank your subordinate and they appreciate it, they will be expecting certain things. And for them not to have that kind of expectation, once they have done job, rather than appreciating them, say, what is there? What have you done? See what you have spent the whole day to write. No condemnation, rather than appreciation. We follow it. Yeah. So those are the things. Then planning. Everything's about planning. Everything's about planning. All this we are talking about, planning. Target setting is about planning. Appreciate the kind of reward, measurement, they are part of the plan. We don't have time to plan. You know, we told us this. The moment you have work to do, the first thing you do is say, who has done this one before? This I will have to do again. And so those plans you are copying, if they were based on false assumptions,